Okay, so Dr. Tamika Jacques here, empowering your career for success. Let's talk about the main topics of the week. And I want to show you and talk about, excuse me, about how career legacies. I've done a couple of videos on this, so follow me at Fruitful Vision Enterprises on YouTube. But let's talk about what happened in career legacy this week. Number one, on Sunday, we got big news that TD Jakes was giving the church to his daughter and his son-in-law. And in the comments, he talks about how he didn't just arrive at this consideration. He's been working on it for the past 6 years, and sometimes we only see the behind scenes. We just think that it's just passing off to someone, but in reality, he's been working on this for the past 6 years. Okay, let's stop right there. Then on Monday, Beyonce's tour kicked off in LA, and what was the buzz after that? Beyonce brought out her youngest daughter and, on the stage with her. Now, her eldest daughter, Blue, had been on stage before. She was on the last tour, but this tour she decided to bring out her 7-year-old daughter. So let's think about this for a second. You have on Sunday one man releasing his legacy, which he's done for over 50 years, to his daughter and his son-in-law. Okay. Then the next night, Beyonce kicks off her tour in LA. Now, let me just say this. Mind you, TD Jakes did this in Texas. Where is Beyonce from? She's from Texas, but that's just a little sidebar. Okay, so we go to LA on Monday. Beyonce has her tour. She has her youngest daughter on stage with her. Last tour, she had her eldest daughter on tour with her, on stage with her. And so you have to look at the clues that God is giving us in our career, right? Like, two huge major public figures, famous, are doing things that sets the legacy for the next legacy, then the next legacy, then the next legacy. And I often wonder, do we think about that? Where are we setting the stage in our lives for the next 3 legacies? Now, let me say this. Depending on where the last generation was, our parents, we know that we always do in most cases, better than our parents. And thank God, I had parents that they always say, you don't know what kind of poverty I grew up in, or, we were too poor to have, whatever it is. And I have to say, I didn't feel that way. My parents, they provided for me. Now, my job is to provide a legacy for my child, right? But what if my entrepreneurship or my career for over 50 years, whatever that may be at that point, provided a legacy for my children and then my children's children's children? Like, do you see that? Do you see that clue? So all I keep thinking about is, yes, thank God for my parents. They provided a legacy. But what you see TD Jakes doing is providing the legacy that he's done for over 50 years, now giving it to his daughter and son-in-law. Now they can take over. And guess what? I'm sure the next generation of that legacy will come into play. So, and then if you look at it in the dance world with Beyonce, think about it. She's been doing this since she was young, right? She's in her 40s. And so by the time she's in her 50s and 60s, her kids will have been on stage with her at a young age. They will have danced on tour with her. And I'm sure they'll be doing other things. So for all of us to think about, how are we setting up our career or our entrepreneurship? Because a lot of times when we start entrepreneurship, we're like, selling these products and it looks small. But how can we grow that? for the next 3 generations, to sustain the next 3 generations, right? Like, how can we do that? And that's what we need to be thinking of, not just today in 2025. How can I, in 25 years, prepare a legacy, a career legacy, or a business legacy for my family? And then when my family has children, how are they preparing for their children to sustain a legacy? And that's what kind of mindset that we need to all be in. Now, you might say, hey, listen, it's too late for me. It is never too late. I don't care if you establish a fund or, you're preparing right now to put money aside. Let's not prepare just wills so that when you die, you never get to see that legacy carry on. Let's start thinking today of what we can see when we are alive. What kind of legacies can we leave that our kids can adapt to and get into while we are alive? Why do we always have to think as leaving a legacy as when someone dies? So, oh my gosh, someone gets a big pot of money. No, prepare for it now when they do get that big pot of money so that they will know how to execute it. We shouldn't just say, yes, I have a will, and when I pass away, you're going to get the house, you're going to get this. No, what is it that they can get for the next 3 generations? Okay, because you got TD Jakes out here and Beyonce out here, her family, and who she's married to. But what can we do to be doing the same thing? Because one thing I know, God gives favor to those who believe in him. And I can't believe, I know that God is not a respecter of persons. So what he's doing for Beyonce, honey, he can do for you. Now, it might not be in that billionaire status, but let me tell you something. We can come close to it if we start preparing for this, present our plan before God and be like, God, give me the ideas that are going to last for 3 generations. What? Can you imagine that? So as a grandmother, you will see your kids get that legacy. Then you'll see your grandkids get that legacy. And woo, God willing, you'll see your great grandchildren get that legacy. And that's what we need to be prepared for. And I think sometimes, I'm going to speak as a brown sister, people have held us in oppression for so many years since slavery. And we've just been trying to get out, because we're trying to prepare for the next generation. But as people that have made it, has survived, our grandparents, we are their wildest dreams. We got to figure out how to carry on those legacies beyond just our children. We got to figure out how to carry on legacies for the next 3 generations. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I have it all figured out, but let me tell you, I'm an author, A Brown Girl's Guide to Employment and Networking, motivational speaking, about careers, leadership, things like that. Whatever it is, my prayer would be, God, show me how to sustain this business for the next 3 generations. And I feel like I might have a little bit of clue, because as I have written books and am trying to trademark, pray for me, y'all, and then getting rejected for this trademark because of circumstances I don't want to say on camera, but I know God will work it out. I have to know that those clues of getting the copyright and doing the trademark and spending that money, on the lawyer, whatever it is, while it might look like an expensive investment today, my gosh, imagine when things get copywritten, when the business names gets trademarked and all that stuff, it really can carry on for 3 generations. And that's why you really have to have the prayer of, God, give me one idea, right? Give me one idea, God, that can carry me on for the next 3 generations. Don't think of today. Yes, it's good to think of today because I know you got today bills and you got today children. But let's start thinking of 3 generations today and how we can sustain them, because There's clues all around us, and we just need to start paying attention to these clues. And how do we sustain these clues for 50 years, 60 years, so that when my children's children are talking, they're going to say, wow, like my great grandmother thought of me. I wasn't even born yet. You know, my parents didn't even meet each other yet. But my great grandmother, my great grandfather thought of me 4 generations ago. And that's why I am at millionaire status. Remember that it's not, the statuses is not always something that we might see today, like God willing. I mean, look at TD Jakes, look at Beyonce, like they're seeing that. And I'm believing God for that. But think about it. 4 generations from now, we'll say, oh my goodness, I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire, I'm a trillionaire because my grandmother, my grandfather thought of something, 50 years ago. They were thinking of me. They didn't even know my name, but yet they were thinking about enough for me to establish a legacy. Y'all, come on. There is too many clues in this world. And as I start unveiling what I'm going to do, I hope you will tune in and you will listen, because as I start thinking of strategies in my life of what I'm going to do, I want to start bringing y'all in too, of how we can all do this together, because that's what it's all about, right? It's about, yes, today we need to sustain ourselves, but what are we doing for the next 4 generations? Listen, I hope this is making sense, because we are, the reason why I wrote A Brown Girl's Guide to Employment and Networking is because I wanted others to come along with me. I want to see other brown people rise to the top, to be the CEOs, to be in the C-suite, to be the chiefs, to be the vice presidents. Like, whatever it is, we should never be somewhere alone, and we should always be somewhere and bring someone with us, right? And we should have that mentality. And that's why I did write the book, A Brown Girl's Guide to Employment and Networking, because there is an end game for me. I want to see more brown people that want to be in the C-suite level. I want to see more brown people operating their own business. That is why that I have written these books, because the information that I have learned from networking and meeting others and seeing how people do it, I paid attention to the clues. That's why I wrote the book. And my Pastor Mona Thompson, always says, look for the clues. Okay. So I give her that credit, because she's taught me to look for the clues. Honey, if you don't see clues this week, I don't know what you're seeing of everything that I mentioned. Okay. So I say to you, let's look for the clues this week. You tell me what the clues are. Listen, I grew up Baptist. I like some call and response. So if you're watching this video, put in the comments. Let me know what are the clues that you're seeing regarding your life and what you can leave for your children. Because let me tell you, it's not just me that's getting this word. I see a lot of bloggers, a lot of content creators were also talking about this. So it's not just me, but it just hit me extra hard this week of what I need to do. And again, I want to see others become millionaires and trillionaires, and because we need to be helping each other. And that's one thing that we should all do. I strive for that. So let me know in the comments what some of the clues, how do you feel? Do I make sense? Am I making sense? Do you also share this, or are you like, listen, I ain't leaving nothing for my kids. I figured it out? Because some people do think like that. I'm not leaving anything for my kids. They can figure it out. I figured it out, and I was a single parent, or I figured it out by myself. My mother didn't teach me this, so I'm going to spend all my money. I'm not going to leave anything. And that's a whole nother post. But I just wanted your comments on that, and let me know. All right. Bye-bye.